Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. My name is Bill Horan, along with my co-host, Nassau Community College student Zac Turkel. And today we're shining the spotlight on a major food bank here on Long Island.
Oh boy, do I love food, Bill, but we're not talking about my love for food today. But there are people on Long Island that may need help feeding their families by introducing you to the experts at Island Harvest.
And joining us today is Randi Dresner, the president and CEO of Island Harvest. Randi, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
I'm pleased to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're going to find out a lot of important information from you today, but let's start at the beginning. What is Island Harvest Food Bank, and what's its real purpose?
Island Harvest Food Bank has been around since 1992, and our mission is to end hunger and reduce food waste on Long Island. So we do that by collecting food donations and other donations from the community, but also from commercial food donors here on Long Island and across the country. And then we distribute it to the community as one part of the services that we provide.
And you were telling me before the show, businesses are amazingly kind to you. They donate food, furnishings, anything that might be helpful to you and to your cause.
Yeah, we accept any donation that's a new product, so obviously unused, unpresented food, but also donations of furniture, pet supplies, personal care items, toys, televisions, rugs, anything that's new that hasn't been used, we also accept and distribute out into the community.
And right there, I would have never thought of the pets. Of course, they're necessary.
Right, me neither.
Personal items, pet supplies, things like that. I would have never thought of that, and I'm sure people have them, and either they buy too much or the wrong type, and here's an outlet for them.
Well, imagine if you're struggling to put food on the table for your family. Many families have pets. Pets are an important part of the family unit, but if you're struggling to feed your family, certainly feeding your pet is another struggle that you may have, and so donating pet food is an important thing that people do.
Absolutely.
Well, if you have any food items in your pantry and you don't really have a use for it, donate it to Island Harvest. And who was behind the idea for creating Island Harvest?
Our founder is Linda Brightstone. She was a resident of Rockville Center and had gone into a 7-Eleven and had found that the manager was throwing food away at the end of the day. And so she did a lot of research, and one found that there were laws, and now federal and state laws, that protect those who are donating food and moving it in good faith using food safety criteria. And she also found that there was an agency right nearby in that town that was helping women and children who were victims of domestic violence. So she went back and offered to help that manager, ask him if he'd be interested once he knew all of the things that she had found out. And he said he would give it a try, but he had trouble getting it there, so she offered to do that for him. And that was the beginning of Island Harvest. After some time, she found other stores and country clubs and caterers that were interested in donating, and she had lots of friends and organizations that wanted to help her. And that was the start of Island Harvest. We became an official organization soon after that as a what's called a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And at the time, European American Bank, EAB, had donated our office space, which was in Mineola. And we were there for 25 years in that donated space. And now we've obviously moved on. But that was the beginning of our organization. And in time, probably about 20 years ago, we started to look at other ways of bringing food in. And so we looked at, as an official food bank, getting food from wholesalers, distributors, retailers, locally and across the country. And started to look at other services that we could provide as well, because quite frankly, we are never going to end hunger by just giving somebody a can of food. And so we need to look at other services we could provide as well.
We want to find out about those, but it's something you told me before the show which impressed me, and I want to pass it on to our audience. Tell us, if someone was to give you $1, what percentage of that actually goes to feed people? Because with charities, we look at, how much is used for administration, etc.
Right.
So give me that impressive number.
So Charity Navigator is the nation's largest charity watchdog, and they have rated us a 4-star charity for over 5 years consecutively. And so that's their highest rating. It's based on a number of things, but part of it is the fact that 94 cents of every dollar supports our programs and services directly. And
that's amazing to our audience if they don't know, because of course some building costs, maintenance, things have to be paid, gas, electric, like everyone else. Salaries. But some organizations give as little as 1%, 2%, 3% to the charity, and they're paying the administrative people. You're putting out 94% of that is going to the cause they're donating. Well,
the way we do it is a very specific business model that we've created over the years. And so, look, 80% of the food and product that we're distributing is donated. Of the 4 facilities that we have, 3 of them are donated. Right now, half of our fleet of trucks have been donated to us. And we also are recipients, fortunately, of about $300,000, $400,000, sometimes $500,000 of in-kind support during the year as well. And so that it would be, say, attorneys giving us some pro bono time, people in marketing and other services that are helping us through the year. That's the business model that we set up. It works for our organization, and we're proud about how we're able to support our programs and services.
Now, Randi, how did you yourself get involved with this?
Well, my career has been in nonprofit. I started as a volunteer when I was, honestly, about 8 years old in elementary school. And while I was growing up, all I wanted to do was work in the nonprofit world. And so that's been my life career. And I was recruited to Island Harvest, and happily, it's been 18 years. It's been a lot of fun. I've met and worked with some really wonderful people, and look to, I don't know how many more years, but hopefully a lot of years where we could do a lot of fun things and helping to support people who are struggling all across Long Island.
We don't think of a not-for-profit, Zach, at least I don't, of recruiting, but they obviously they know good people. If they're reaching out, they want the best.
Quite frankly, we're a business just like any other company. So. We're a business. I run it like a business. And so I watch very carefully our P&L. We watch where our costs are. We watch how we're handling our personnel, our staff. Anything that you would do in a corporation, we do at Island Harvest and most other nonprofits as well. Because if we don't run it like a business, we're probably not going to succeed and be in business for a long time. Not these days.
And that's why you do it so well, and now I know why they recruited you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's right. And you know how many people on Long Island have trouble paying for food and getting help from Island Harvest because, Bill and I, and probably you, Randi, we walk into the supermarket, we get an exorbitant amount of money for food, and we never realize that there are people on Long Island that need that. Is there an actual number of people that are not sure where their food is coming from?
So that term is called food insecurity, people who just don't know where their next meal might be coming from or how consistent they might be getting their food. And Island Harvest is helping about 300,000 people a year, which, by the way, amounts to about 1 in every 10 Long Islanders. So go out onto campus, go out into the supermarket or the stores. You could literally count out 10 people, and statistically that would be how many people that we're supporting. So let's talk about hunger. Why are people struggling with food insecurity, with poverty? Well, in many cases it's because of an illness or an accident. In many cases that we know of, that people are working and doing well, and all of a sudden they get a diagnosis of something and it literally takes everything down for them. They wind up out of work and running up a lot of bills and struggling with then having to make some really tough choices. Senior citizens who have built up Long Island and made this community exactly what we are living and enjoying right now, and many of those senior citizens are now having to pick and choose between what they're spending their money. And it's the same with veterans who have fought for our country. So there are many, many people who are struggling, and in some cases, young mothers having to water down formula, which is probably one of the worst things you could do for an infant. But the young mothers are not sure what to do and how to spend their money. Other people are having to choose between paying for their medicines or paying for food, and others are eating one meal a day. Food is something that we all take for granted because we eat 3 meals a day. We just assume it's going to be there. There are many children who are going to school, and some of them are actually choosing to go to school because they get their 1 meal a day at school through the free lunch, free breakfast program.
Wow, and it is true. You could be walking around in the middle of the street and you could see one person, you'll have no idea what that person does for a living, but they could be at risk, of hunger. They don't know where the next meal is coming from. So that is a great statistic that I just found out. I just want to let our listeners know that you were listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Zac Turkel, along with Bill Horan, and today we're talking about Island Harvest, a food bank for Long Island, with President and CEO Randi Dresner.
Randy, what does Island Harvest do differently than perhaps the other food banks or other organizations who want to help out?
So what we've done over the years is look at what kind of services we could provide that would support some of the work that's going on in the community with other nonprofits and hopefully not duplicate some of the services. And so one of the most exciting changes with our organization is that we have created farms. We're farmers now. We have 2 farms, one on the campus of the Sisters of St. Joseph's, and we'll be cutting the ribbon on another one at Farmingdale State College. We have 40 community gardens that are set up actually we call them giving gardens, set up all across Long Island. And so with the giving gardens, they may be in schools or businesses where people have been trained by Island Harvest. We actually can give them seeds and some of the supplies, and they grow the produce and donate it to Island Harvest so that our agencies in the community can get that food and get it into the community. And our farms have become an opportunity for a lot of corporate and community groups to come and help us out. And so that's been exciting. We've gotten to meet a lot of new people. But we're growing a lot of fresh organic produce that we now could get out into the community. And we also use it as a demonstration site where we could show and train people who are struggling with food insecurity on how they could grow their own produce and perhaps not be as dependent on food pantries in their community. Now, not everybody could grow a garden, and in some cases they may have just a small little cup or bowl where they're growing some product, but it's a start. And it's also a good way for them as a family, when they do have a family, to work together and learn about growing. And
it's also a feeling of self-esteem that they or you yourself are doing something to enhance your life, maybe the life of others, and you're moving in the right direction rather than just accepting. Obviously, sometime in life we just have to be put in that position. But if they can be farmers, I think that's great. I didn't know anything about it. That's why this show is so great. Zach and I learned so much from our guests. And
well, it's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing it. And look, it's another way for us to get food out into the community. We also have a very robust SNAP outreach program. So SNAP is the other term for food stamps. And last year we helped 3,000 families become enrolled in SNAP. It actually brought $8 million of funds from the state to Long Island, so it actually helps the community, but it actually empowers people who are dependent on SNAP dollars, where they could take that money, go into the supermarket on their own, pick out the food that they want for their family, and be able to bring it home for them. So it helps to make people more independent, not dependent. And quite frankly, the average person is not on SNAP food stamps forever. They're only on it for sometimes 1 or 2 years because they themselves want to get themselves off of food stamps. And another exciting thing that we're doing is really infusing nutrition education into everything that we do, because we really feel like if we could teach you about healthy eating, we could teach people about reading the nutrition fact labels and really understanding what's in the foods that they're eating, it will help them to be healthier people, particularly if they have health conditions.
No, this is really wonderful. Randy, we want to find out more, but at this point in the show, we're going to take a brief break. My name is Bill Horan. I'm here with Zac Turkel, and today we're talking about the Island Harvest, a food bank for Long Island with President and CEO Randi Dresner. You're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food. Cha-ching. And $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted. Which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
My Hometown is made possible by Herald Community Newspapers. For more local news, visit liherald.com. Got a story to tell? Call 516-569-4000.
And now we return to My Hometown.
Okay.
Thanks for being with us here today, here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Bill Horan. I'm here with Zac Turkel, and we're talking about the Island Harvest, a food bank for Long Island with President and CEO Randi Dresner.
And, being here on the show, and we're learning so much, Bill, about, to bring awareness on this important topic. And how does Island Harvest lower food waste?
So that's part of our mission to end hunger and reduce food waste. Quite frankly, we do it in a number of different ways. When we work with our food donors to make sure that they are donating food to us so we can get it out into the community rather than throw it away, we're limiting food waste. So I'll give you an example. One of our larger food donors is Stop and Shop. We designed a program with them a number of years ago. They decided to take it on as a pilot. They liked it, and now all of their stores under all their brands on the East Coast is involved with this program. So think about when you go to the supermarket and you see the tray packs of meat. There's a sell-by date on there.
Right.
So most supermarkets will take that meat when it gets close to the sell-by date and throw it away. So we created this program with Stop and Shop where 2 days or so before that sell-by date, they collect all that meat, they put it in the freezer. The freezer stops the clock, we pick it up frozen, and we deliver it frozen through our network. Each year, now, we are collecting well over 900,000 pounds of meat from Stop and Shop, and now we're doing it a little bit with ShopRite and with Target each year. So That's almost 1 million pounds that was saved from the landfill, and that's just protein meat products alone. So you can imagine all of the other things that we're helping supermarkets and food and retailers across Long Island. It's making a big impact to make sure that we're not filling up landfills rather than helping to feed bellies.
And if anyone wants to find out on more information, Randi, what is the contact information for the Island Harvest?
I would recommend anybody check out our website, islandharvest.org. We have information there about donating food, contributing dollars, and about volunteering time.
Any of the above, and obviously a great cause. And for someone, even as simple, I guess, as go when they're doing their shopping, they could get a box of cereal, they could get a can of soup or vegetables or something. And if you want to make that a weekly project for you and the children, the family, a great way to show giving back to the community and helping people, and win-win all the way across.
In households, let me say it this way. I oftentimes have families that'll say to me, show me the nearest soup kitchen. I want to throw my kids in there so that they could see what they have and what others don't have. And what I try to tell people is that that's not really the way to teach your children about giving back. The right way to teach your children is to change the culture in your home and make it a home of giving so that the kids grow up in that environment. They need to see you giving back, not threatening them, but actually seeing it in the household. And so I think that's a really good point, to do a collection in your home on a regular basis so that kids understand it. Volunteer. Go out and do a food drive at a supermarket. Reach out to Island Harvest. We'll help you. We'll schedule it. We'll get you supplies. Get involved with us with one of our many events. We have events with the National Association of Letter Carriers. We have all sorts of food drives in the fall when most people are thinking about hunger. In all, we have about 1,000 food drives a year, but even in between, there are other things that people could do, not just do a food drive.
Now, Randy, I know you have so many different programs. Just introduce us to them, because we could spend probably a few hours talking about them. But so our audience knows maybe there's something they would fit right into immediately or could contribute.
From a fundraising perspective, we have some great fundraising events. We, of course, have golf tournament. We have a big dinner in the fall. And we have an event at Citi Field. I'm a Mets fan.
All right.
So Citi Field, it's all good stuff.
Our producer's going to be very happy with that.
Well,
He's nodding right now.
It's a great event that we have there as well. In fact, we always have a couple of extra seats into a special event that we have in the owner's box at Citi Field as well. And so we encourage people to come in and get involved with us that way. There are lots of events that happen at schools. Schools are always doing fundraising activities for us and food raising activities. And so we would encourage you to reach out to our website and dive in there to see what other things are happening. And then from a food raising perspective, we have our letter carriers food drive. We have our fall food drives during the holiday seasons. And we have a lot of things going on in the spring and the summer as well.
You cover everything: baseball, golf, food drive, schools, churches, civic organizations.
Yes.
But it really does seem like if someone, especially youngsters, if they have a program or something they're looking to help out, this would be a great way to do it, to learn about what's going on in Long Island, to contribute. And it's hard to say no to a little kid when they come to the door. There's always that extra can of soup or box of cookies or something we could donate. So those are I guess, your best agents.
Children, when they understand the issue, they want to get involved. And we encourage kids to reach out to us with their creative ideas about how to get involved. We love saying yes. And if somebody's got an idea, they need to develop it because they want to get more involved. We encourage that.
And you have 4 locations. So where are you on Long Island?
Well, we have an office in Bethpage. We have a warehouse in Uniondale, another warehouse and offices in Hauppauge. And then on the East End, we have some space, donated large space in Calverton.
And the organization is Island Harvest. And if you just happen to have a lot of space and you like to donate it, I bet they would think of a good way to use it.
Yep.
So we'll put out a call, and maybe someone out there sitting with some unused space or unrentable space, talk to Island Harvest.
Now I see that there's probably a guy sitting on top of Campbell's soup. They're probably using it as a seat or
there you go.
Something. That's a great way to donate. And speaking of your website, I was looking at it, and there are 2 big programs for kids called Kids Weekend Backpack Feeding Program and Summer Food Service Program. Could you tell us more about that and maybe how people could volunteer for that? And is there a minimum age limit to volunteer as well?
So first I'll say to you that if a family wants to do food drives for us at supermarkets and such, there's no age minimum, because you'd go with your family to the supermarket. We'd help you. We'd get you set up. As far as coming into the warehouse, that's a different story. We do have some age limits, age minimums, because it's a little dangerous and we need to make sure that we're properly supervised.
Right.
The 2 programs that you mentioned are programs where we're actually supporting and helping children. And so our backpack program was started quite a long time ago, where we bring food to select schools across Long Island on Fridays. And the schools distribute that food to children who are in need and are at risk of hunger through the weekend. And that package has meals for family meals where they could share it with their family. We have 7 different menus, actually. It also includes shelf-stable milk and juice and fruit and snacks for them. And so we're helping right now about 900 children. We were helping 1,200 children. We lost some funding. We hope to get that funding back so we could bring those children back onto this program, because they really depend on it. And then over the summer, imagine if you're one of those children who are dependent on the school lunch program, what happens over the weekend, over the summer. Your families don't necessarily have more money because school is over, and a lot of children go without during the summer months. And so we are the largest sponsor of the summer feeding program over the summer. Last year we helped about 8,000 children. We distributed about 200,000 meals to those children just during the 8 to 10 weeks of summer. So it's a very important program. fills a void that too many families have, and unfortunately, this program could be double or triple, and there would still be children that would be in need of support.
Wow, and I want to continue talking about this after, but I just want to let our listeners know that you were listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Zac Turkel, along with Bill Horan, and today we're talking about Island Harvest, a food bank for Long Island, with President and CEO Randi Dresner.
Randi, you mentioned before about teaching people how to prepare food. And where does that come in? Can you explain that to us and how that helps the people and actually gets more bang for their buck?
So we have a team of dietitians on staff, and we have a task force of nutritionists and dietitians that work with us as well. We go out into the community, and we do cooking demonstrations and nutrition education workshops. So we may be in colleges and schools. We may be in shelters. We've even gone to bus stops and laundromats. We go to where people are that need our help and our support. We design nutrition education programs specifically to their needs. And we've also started a partnership with Northwell at Valley Stream, where we have a dietitian on staff there, and we see some select patients who have scored positive for food insecurity before they get discharged, and we work with them to help them understand about the connection between food and health.
That's an interesting term. You said food insecurity. I think I know what that means, but would you define it for us?
Food insecurity is sort of the other name for hunger, but it's literally not knowing where or when your next healthy meal will be coming from, and not knowing that you're having consistent foods and meals for your family.
Wow. We are also lucky, and we probably don't even think of this, and I haven't, to be honest, till we started talking to you today.
I don't either. You know, we think about it, you know, we eat food every single day, but we never realize that there are people, especially on Long Island. I mentioned earlier that you could see somebody walking down the street, and you never know that they are, you know, in need of food.
Well, I could share with you that there's also a big push to help college students. And so right here at Nassau Community College, we support the Nest, which is a food pantry to help students and faculty, and now all of the SUNY college campuses and affiliated campuses across the state are also supporting people with food insecurity, their college students, with a pantry on site or a connection to a pantry in the community.
And let's say somebody is listening and they say, I want to do this. How can someone volunteer? And is there any training that they have to go through?
We encourage people to check out our website, islandharvest.org, or you could certainly call us at 631-873-4775. Tell us you want to volunteer, and we'll talk to you from there, and we'll figure out how you could become more involved with our organization.
And maybe even just for people who say, well, you know, I'll volunteer or donate, but looking on it, they may actually know some people who need these services, and how they could avail themselves of it without being embarrassed or feel that their neighbors will know something like that. So if they go to the website or call you or get in touch with you, you could probably help them out.
We have a food locator on our website, so you could put in the zip code, and it will tell you all of the pantries and other programs in your community. But you can also call Island Harvest as well.
So a lot of ways we can all do good deeds, and it's all thanks to you, Randi Dresner, the CEO and founder.
Not me, but the organization and a great team of people.
And that's Island Harvest is the organization. They're all over Long Island. Take advantage of it and get in touch with them through the website. And if you want to do a little volunteer work, it'll make you feel good. Randi, we want to thank you so much for being with us today and instructing us about the needs on Long Island. So greatly appreciate that. And to our audience, we'd like to let you know that I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Zac Turkel. Thanks for listening to My Hometown.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC at ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.